What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to talk a little bit about the lowering prescription medication, okay? And the reason why we're in the situation that we're in right now. So I want to talk about that, but I found this clip that really outlines and explains this whole situation when it comes to the supply chain and why we pay more for prescription medication in the United States compared to other countries. I'm currently in Colombia right now, and some of the same medication that I can buy in the US, I can buy in Colombia for a fraction of the cost. And so I want to show you guys this clip, and then we're going to talk about this clip, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they are talking about in Congress, because the White House has a plan. And we just heard the Majority Leader Schumer is negotiating with Senator Manchin, and they're trying to come up with a plan when it comes to lowering prescription medication. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and the financial struggles that Americans are facing today. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so before we get started with the clip, I do want to talk about premieres. I'm really trying to promote these premiere videos. So just so you guys know exactly how it works, when I do a premiere, that means we show the video and I'm in the chat and I'm answering questions and talking with you guys while the video is being played. So I want to do more and more of these, but I need your support. So I need you to do two things. The first thing is I need you to like the video. So when you see the video launch, like the video. That will help promote it out. So YouTube, basically, the way they look at it is they will promote it already to people who are subscribed to my channel. And then once the video is airing, if people like the video, then they're going to promote it to even more people. And so that's what I'm asking of you guys to do. Just hit the like button. You come in, hit the like button, and that will help YouTube promote it. Also, when it comes to subscribing to the channel, now is the time. Now is the perfect time to subscribe to the channel, because when I do premieres, if you're subscribed and you hit the little bell notification, and when I say hit the bell notification, basically what you're going to do is you're going to subscribe to the channel, and then they'll have an option so you can hit the bell basically, and that will allow you to get updates, notifications anytime that I post a video, or anytime that I post that I will be doing a premiere, or anytime that I go live. And so when you hit the little bell, that's when you get that notification. If you just subscribe to the channel and you don't hit the bell notification, you're not going to get those notifications anytime that I go live, or anytime I do a premiere, or anytime I post a video. Okay. Sometimes you might get a notification, but you won't get it all the time. Okay. And I've had plenty of people that watch my channel that said, I'm subscribed, but I don't get the notifications. That's probably why you're not getting the notifications. So make sure you look on there. Make sure that bell notification is darkened. Okay. If the bell notification is darkened, that means that you've already hit that bell. Okay. So very, very important. Please do those two things. In my ideal situation is I want to grow the audience in the premiere. So go from 300 to 400 to 1,000 people in the room at the same time. That way we can really help people and answer questions and all that. So that's my goal there. Okay, so like the premiere, as well as if you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the little bell notification. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and take a look at this clip, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it as we watch it. Here we go.
You might think the process that determines how much you pay for something is pretty straightforward. And it often is. For example, here's the supply chain for a beverage you might buy at the drugstore, say a Pepsi. PepsiCo manufactures the soda and sends it to a retailer who sells it to a customer. The customer pays the retailer, and the retailer pays PepsiCo. Simple, right? Well, that is not the case for the products behind the pharmacy counter, the drugs. Here's a typical supply chain for prescription drugs.
Just look at that supply chain. You already know that there's problems, right? When you look at a supply chain like that and just compare it to the supply chain they showed right before that, you know there's a huge problem, and there's a lot of money that needs to, in order for this supply chain to work, it needs to be funded by more money.
It looks really different. That's because the way that drugs are priced is not at all a straightforward process. Experts and politicians argue that the very complexity of this chain is part of why drug prices have grown so high for customers.
Everyone involved in the broken system, the drug makers, insurance companies, distributors, pharmacy benefit managers, and many others contribute to the problem.
To understand this debate, first you should understand the flow of drugs and money within this chain. Let's start here, with the pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones who develop a drug and set a price, known as the list price. This isn't as straightforward as it might look, which we'll explain in a moment. Next, you have the wholesalers who transport the drugs and sell them to the pharmacies. The patient pays the copay, and the pharmacy sends out a bill that gets paid by the insurance company. That's simple enough, but
And look at I just want to show you this. So, and I don't think you guys can see my cursor, but you see the green. You see those green arrows. One green arrow goes to the pharmacy. So when I go to the pharmacy, I'm going to pay whatever amount it is. Usually it's not that much. And then also I pay to my insurer. So that's how that chain goes. So I just wanted to make sure you understand that too. You're not just paying, you're still paying your insurance company, obviously. So you pay in two different places when it comes to purchasing your prescription medication.
Missing a link, the link that manages this transaction and adds a lot of complexity to the chain. Meet the pharmacy benefit managers, or
okay, so this is where it gets really, really tricky because this is that extra person that's involved in this whole situation.
PBMs. They're who the drug companies and some politicians are talking about when they refer to middlemen. They work for insurance companies, big employers, and government agencies. And a big part of their job is to bring down the cost of drugs for their employers. They do this by negotiating with pharmaceutical companies for rebates. Yep, for many of the drugs a pharmaceutical company sells, it pays a rebate to the PBM. The PBM sometimes pockets a portion of the rebate and passes another portion on to the insurance company or employer. Why?
Now, this person does not work for the patient, okay? They work for their clients, the insurers and the government agencies. That's their focus. So don't get it I mean, they're getting these rebates, but those rebates are going to them. It's not going to the actual consumer.
Why the pharmaceutical company pays these rebates is the source of a lot of controversy. What happens is the drug company gets moved up on something called a formulary. So what's a formulary? It's the list of drugs that the insurance company covers, and it's grouped in tiers. Each tier represents what portion of the list price the patient pays and what portion of the list price the insurance company pays. The highest tier on the formulary is the lowest copay for the patient, and the lowest tier is the highest copay for the patient. When the pharmaceutical company pays a higher rebate, the PBM will move the drug up on the formulary. Pharmaceutical companies want high placement on the formulary. That's because patients are more likely to take the drug that's most affordable, and that usually means higher sales for the pharmaceutical company. If a patient wants to take a drug that's lower down on the formulary, or not on it at all, they have to pay higher copays, or even the full list price of the drug. If this seems confusing, that's because it is. Let's take another walk through that transaction, this time with an example. Say a hypothetical drug costs $100. A PBM negotiates a $50 rebate, $10 of which they pocket, and $40 of which they pass on to the insurance company or employer. In return for that rebate, the PBM moves the drug to a better spot on the formulary, making it cheaper for the patient to buy the drug. This transaction is important because the pharmaceutical companies say it's a big reason they keep raising the price of drugs.
Now, it might seem a little confusing, right? But the bottom line is the higher rebates the pharmaceutical companies offer to the middlemen, the higher up they will be on that scale that they were talking about. Okay, and the higher up they're on that scale, the more drugs they can sell. The pharmaceutical company can sell, and so what they will do is the pharmaceutical companies will hike up their prices, and then offer a larger rebate. Because if you offer a larger rebate, the middleman makes more money, and they move you up on that list. And if they move you up on that list, you can sell more.
Probably seen a chart like this before. It's the rise in the price of a drug in the US, in this case, Humalog, according to its maker, Eli Lilly. The pharmaceutical companies say they have to raise list prices to protect their sales and profits from the demands of these higher rebates. Here's the CEO of the pharmaceutical company Merck at a hearing on drug prices.
If you bring a product to the market with a low list price in this system, you get punished financially and you get no uptake because everyone in the supply chain makes money as a result of a higher list price.
Okay, so you hear what he's saying there, the higher list price. Now, if a pharmaceutical company has a higher list price for their drugs that they're selling, then they can offer a bigger rebate. If you offer a bigger rebate, you pay the middleman. Everybody makes more money in that situation. But at the end of the day, the consumer is going to be paying more because now these pharmaceutical companies are raising their prices high so they can allow everyone to make money.
And here's that Humalog chart again, this time with the net price, or the average revenue that Eli Lilly says they take in under this system. For their part, the PBMs say the drug companies don't have to raise prices to boost their bottom lines, and that rebates reduce the cost of drugs, not inflates them. They say rebates reduce the real cost of prescription drugs because they lower the price that insurance companies pay. That helps the insurers lower the premiums that the patients have to pay for their plans.
The only problem with this is it's no guarantee. So the rebates lower the cost that the insurance companies pay, but the insurance company, they don't have to pass on that savings to the patient or to the consumer, right? They don't have to do that. And I'm sure they're taking a profit in there still somewhere. They get the rebate and they're still taking a little bit of that profit. And so that's where it gets a little sticky because, yes, those rebates they should, in theory, drop the price of the premiums and drop the price for the consumer, but it doesn't always work that way. And you have to understand these insurance companies are in business to make money. And so they're going to try to make money at any cost, okay?
Here's Derica Rice, an executive vice president at CVS Caremark, one of the pharmacy benefit managers.
Our job is to work with the employers, unions, and government programs we serve to ensure that when their members get to the pharmacy counter, they get the medicines that they need at the lowest possible cost.
So, what does all of this mean for the patient back at the pharmacy counter? At the heart of all this is that what the patient pays is often based on the list price, not the price the insurance company is responsible for after.
Okay, this is very important. The list price, not the price that the insurance company is paying after they receive the rebates. So you're going to pay that full price, or at least you're responsible to pay that full price, right? And we don't know, and they'll talk about it. Actually, I'll just let the video play here.
Or the rebates. And patients who don't have insurance or co-insurance, or who have really high deductibles, sometimes pay the entire list price. It's important to know that the details surrounding rebates are shrouded in mystery. Pharmaceutical companies and PBMs don't release their rebate data, saying it's proprietary. But it's clear that different people and different insurance companies pay different prices for the same drugs.
Okay, so that's something else that we need to focus on, right? So what they're saying is the rebates, first off, the rebates between the pharmaceutical companies and the middlemen, that information is not shared. So you don't know how much the rebate is. You don't know how much the insurance company is actually purchasing the medication for. But the consumer usually pays the list price. Okay, so if you have good insurance, you're going to pay a lot less. But if you don't have good insurance, then that's when you're going to be paying more, closer to that list price. And that's where it gets out of control, because we know the pharmaceutical companies, they're already raising the price of their drugs because they want to offer rebates to the middlemen. And because they're raising those prices up so they can offer rebates, that means if you're at the other end and you're the consumer and your insurance is not that good, you're going to be paying more. You're going to be paying more because you're paying for that list price, but you're also paying for that rebate that is in conjunction with that list price.
As you can see, the way that prices work behind the counter is totally different from how they work in front.
Okay, so hopefully you guys saw in that clip, and that was by the Wall Street Journal. They put out this clip. Hopefully you saw how complicated and how convoluted it is when it comes to prescription medication and how we get our prescription medication. And like I said before, you have all those hands in the pot. The more hands you have in the pot, the more expensive everything is going to be for the consumer. So that's what we need to focus on. And that's why we have a problem in the US when it comes to prescription medication. Because when you look all over the world, they don't have these same middlemen and all these people that are involved. So basically what the federal government wants to do when it comes to Medicare, they want to deal directly with the pharmaceutical companies. Take out the middlemen and you'll save money. And that's what they want to do. And we saw Mark Cuban just this year. He launched a website where he's selling prescription medication and he takes out the middlemen. He deals directly with the pharmaceutical companies. But when you take out the middlemen, then you also have to take out insurance. So if you have insurance, you can't use your insurance to pick up medication from Mark Cuban's website. But in a lot of cases, it's cheaper to go through his website than it is to go through your own insurance. And that's how crazy it is. That's how much money is involved when it comes down to the prescription medication. So I just wanted to show you this video. Hopefully you understood it. If you didn't, play it back again and watch it. I mean, I watched it like 3 or 4 times before I was able to really grasp what's going on when it comes to prescription medication. So if you guys have any questions, post them down below. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.